Yep. Okay, we are live for a new episode of the Electrek Podcast. I'm Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by Seth Wintrop, coming us live from Canada. We reversed the role this week. You're in Canada, and I'm from the US. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm in Victoria. I don't know if I think my setup. I'm at my sister-in-law's place, and I think the setup here is actually better than mine in New York. And you're in Virginia, which is you're on your way to New York City, right?
Yeah. We literally, well, not switch places because I'm further from Virginia, from Victoria, when in Canada, than I am from my home right now. But yeah, I mean that's maybe it's gonna push you to upgrade your setup now that
I know.
your non-podcasting relative have a better setup than you.
Yeah,
Uh, all right, so my trip in Virginia right now kind of leads right into our first article for today, which was my test of the self-driving beta I did this week. I was right now I'm in Virginia, but I just drove from North Carolina, where we went hiking in the Blue Ridge Mountains just last weekend. And while I was in in the mountains, and we were driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is a stunning road with clear lines on the ground on the road, and barely no intersection. So I was like, this is like where you could really test. Well, let me reframe this, because you could really test for self-driving beta, but not obviously not for intersections and things like that. But you could really push the control system of the full self-driving beta, because all right, the computer vision of it has always been the most impressive part, in my opinion, of the system. It understands, it sees its environment very well, but it's the decision making part of things that are not that great, in my opinion. Now, add intersection to it, add of other people. Though the biggest unknown when you're driving is always the other people driving. There's too many morons out there.
Hmm.
But and even if they're not morons, they can still be dangerous on the road, because not everyone is apt at driving 4,000 pounds machinery. And you with this, there's only one, it's a one way, it's two lane, one each way for the parkway, and it's double lanes almost all the way through, so there's no one like there's no much interaction with other vehicle other than the vehicle in front of you, basically, which Tesla full self-driving beta is really good at, because autopilot has been doing that too for a long time. Now, remove the intersection too, which is a lot more complex. It's just about, can you stay on the road, stay in your lane, adapt your speed to where you're going. And for the most part, it did pretty well. You can check out the video that I posted. I posted the whole unedited video on our YouTube channel, and you can see that. Yeah, this I started with the most interesting part, of course, which was the only driver intervention in the whole drive. The drive was about 8 miles, 13 minutes, and no driver interaction, but some issues again with phantom braking or phantom deceleration. It's not actually actively pressing the brake, but it's letting off the accelerator, which of course engaged the regen braking for no real apparent reason. Also, the some of the turns, I guess it's a very windy road. Um, some of the turns you can see the FSD beta not being confident in how sharp the turn is going to be, and it's slowed down too much. While other turns that are even sharper, for some reason, it will take it at the full speed that you set it at, which in this case, most of the ride was a 45 miles per hour road, and I set it to 47 just to get a little bit of leeway so that he can um, make it a little bit more natural of a drive. Most people don't drive at 45 on that road. Where things got a little bit more dicey is when we got off of uh, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we went into, I think it's part of what they call the Dragon's Tail. It's like a very popular route for motorcycles to do, which I didn't know at the time, and now knowing, I wouldn't go back on it with FSD beta, because it's obviously kind of dangerous. It's the roads are a lot more are windier, so the turns are much sharper. It's a lot of turns. The speed goes down to 35 miles per hour, and I let it at 35. But actually, FSD beta for the most part brought it back to 25, which was more reasonable for most of those turns. But as you can see right here, so that's when we uh, got off the road right here. That was, so this is a dragon tail. You can see it a little bit on the screen here. It's extremely windy. And the third turn that we got right here, you can see the car started going over the double lanes. And oh, that's not this one. The next one right here.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell from the viewing perspective if you're going over the lanes or not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's always harder to film that, but it's right here. You can see, and whoop, it was going
Whoa, yeah,
straight
okay, you can
for.
tell.
Yeah, for this one, you could tell that directly. Um, the car, as some people noted too, it looks like the car straightened the steering wheel. That was not FSD beta that straightened the steering wheel. It says that's me. Not as soon as I press the brake, it disengage FSD beta, and the wheel goes back to position before I can get a hold of it correctly. Even though I had my hands on the wheel, I wasn't like gripping it because those are super short term. If I grip it, it was going to disengage FSD beta either way. So I was just having my hands on it, ready to take control. So it turned a little bit by the time I did that. But regardless of that, I felt the car going straight off road. Which is kind of strange because, like, again, the you could see from the perspective of the car in on the screen, it clearly saw the turn, saw the line, but the prediction system kind of like overlapped the lines for a second, and even though could see it clearly, couldn't understand how sharp the turn was. Very strange. Now, since I posted the video, a lot of people are like, I've done this same road a bunch of times with FSD beta, and it went perfectly." And I'm like, that's great too. I have no problem with that, and I can accept that. But I mean, obviously, this video is completely unedited. Here, I tried to do it, and it failed. So there's some inconsistency here, and that has been a problem with FSD beta for a lot of people. Like, you can get do the same exact location for a bunch of times, and it doesn't get the same reaction. Like, you would think that, I mean, the computer would be good at, I just, if once it gets something right, you keep doing it, but for some reason it's inconsistent, more like a human behavior, really. So,
Right.
and
So,
interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
we're pretty far along in the FSD beta program. Are you feeling any more relaxed when you're driving with FSD, or is it are you just as anxious as you've always been? Is
Well, I
it
mean, it's
getting any
always,
better?
it always depends on the situation. In this case, like, I was that's why I was, as testing it on the parkway, I was pretty relaxed. It
Hmm.
was doing very well. At one point, we encountered some hikers on the side of the road, and I could, like, I was now, obviously, like, my biggest fear is like, you're gonna, I don't want to injure anyone with this. Like, this is a bit of feature that I'm kind of helping it learn. Like, it's not like, you want to be extremely careful. So when I see people on the side of the road, I get automatically a little bit more nervous. But I saw that the system detected it. Not only detecting it, the prediction line went around it to, like, we're gonna slow down right away, and was prepared to go around it. So I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then they ended up going on the side of the road themselves, so it was fine. Um, but yeah, once we got to the dragon's tail thing, like, yeah, I was getting more nervous. And as soon as there was the disengagement, we're like, okay, I think we're done. Especially my girlfriend was like, she I could see the sweat going off of her head. She
Right.
was not
Yeah,
happy
being a
about it.
passenger, being a
Yeah, being a
passenger is even
passenger
more
has to be
harrowing.
worse. Yeah, it has to be
Right.
worse. But yeah, in some, like, very simple city driving, suburban type of environment, it's not too bad. But for me, for the most part, it is doing the it's not doing what autopilot does for the highway. Autopilot does make
Right.
it more chill for me. Like, it's um it is an added benefit on the highway. Using this in
Hmm.
city driving is not. It's just, it's a added stress. I feel like I'm working. I feel I'm just like, I am.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm on the passenger seat, and then there's the FSD beta is in the driver's seat, and I'm just telling it what to do, and, like, being super careful, kind of like when my girlfriend is driving, and I'm being a backseat driver, but with FSD beta. So at least if Isabella doesn't talk back to me, but
No, hopefully she's not
um,
listening to this.
I'm just teasing. No one likes a backseat driver. I can understand that, but that's literally what we are for the FSD beta, though.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, like we are trying to correct it, and yeah. So far, this is to everyone to like always talking like this. Oh, there's this an older version. This is kind of getting an old. It's the latest version. It's 10.12, but it is older because 10.13 is supposed to come. Already be in internal testing for a while now. Apparently,
And
it's
10
coming.
and
Yeah,
1069 is
now
coming.
yeah, now it's 1069. Now it's been updated to 1069 because apparently you remember when I did this post, it was the post when went kind of crazy because I guess the headline was a little bit clickbaity where I went and said that Elon did the impossible and manage expectation for the next full self-driving beta update. That was 10.13. But sure enough, then he delays
All right.
10.13 and then changed it to 1069. And it's like, there's going to be the greatest update ever made.
I know.
So, I have to swallow my words on this one. I mean, we know what is coming. A lot of it, like they're trying to address like Chuck's turn, like the more difficult left turns, the unprotected left turns. Doing a lot of speed limit improvement too, which I think is needed. They're doing more animal detection, more object detection, which is you always need more of those. Like it doesn't detect everything. There's no doubt about it. Children too, apparently, or at least dummies of children, fake
Right.
children. Um, but yeah, no, this is it's still super hard for me to see it becoming a level 4 system. It's
Yeah. Not by the end of the year, you're saying.
I'd be shocked by the end of the year, and Elon would be
Right.
shocked if it doesn't happen by the end of the year. So obviously he
Right.
knows more than me, but
Somebody's going to be shocked.
yeah, he knows more than me about it. There's no doubt, but at the same time, he's been a lot more wrong than me about it too in terms of the
Right.
timeline. So there's you have to take both of those things into account. Yeah, it's especially like now. You know what's happening? That it's today I had a bunch of problems too. So we drove from North Carolina well, now I'm in Virginia, Harrisonburg, whatever, a small town in Virginia, and on the highway we kept getting some error messages, some system error on FSD and autopilot. Basically, the detection system kept dropping. If you looked at the visualization on the system, it we were on the autopilot or FSD beta if it was on the road instead of the highway, and it would tell us take control right away, like no alert, no warning whatsoever. Take control, and then you take control, and then the not only the blue lines and everything would disappear, the visualization of the other cars and everything would disappear as if the system completely drops. It did that twice, and now in my car right now I don't have any visualization at all, and it cannot activate autopilot, even cruise control. I cannot activate.
Really?
So
Is it a camera issue?
you would think, but all my cameras look fine. Like so, they gave me the error message that is a system error. Like if I look on the Tesla website and the troubleshooting website, the error give me like, yeah, it's either like the cameras, it's either something that's like but obstruction of view and all that, or a computer error. And to me, it looks more like a computer error because my cameras all looks fine and everything. It looks like, and if I have a problem with the camera, normally it gives me like, oh, this camera has a problem. It didn't give me any of that. It's just like nothing works. You're screwed. And it
Hmm.
did that twice today. So I don't know if my computer, my FSD 3.0 computer is just dead. It's unclear.
Maybe somebody at Tesla didn't like your post and decided to brick you.
No, well, I mean that it's actually dangerous. How it drops though so quick, like especially the alert is like there's just no warning. It's not like, oh, your system is going down. It's like poof, nothing is working. Like just uh,
Hmm.
and it's weird because nothing is working, but the alert doesn't go away until you take control. Even though you're in control, like I was, my hands on the wheel, and I can still feel the auto steer like steering, but I have to break it away or to brake in order to like remove the giant
Oh,
alert like
really?
bleeping in your face. Like it's not like okay,
So it's like
I
a
know I'm
It's
already
just
in
kind of
control.
falling apart.
Yeah, just stop, like stop the auto steer and let me get control, or I don't want to have to, like, I'm literally on the highway in traffic, there's people behind me, there's people inside of me, I'm not gonna swing it too hard, I don't want to brake either, brake check the guy behind me. So yeah,
Mhm.
this is not that was not great. But I don't know, I'll see if it's, I have a lot of driving to do tomorrow too, if it still does that tomorrow after a computer reset, I'm gonna have to bring it to, maybe I'll go see your your Tesla folks in New York,
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm driving
Mount
to New York
Kisco,
tomorrow.
Tarrytown.
Yeah, see if I need a new computer or something.
They still have our Electrek sweatshirt, so we're in good shape.
Oh yeah, you bribe them with sweatshirt to get
Yeah,
faster appointments. Yeah,
yeah.
can respect that. Yeah, speaking of the dot 69, Elon announced yesterday that the slowdown is going to be a little bit slower than he previously announced. So he previously said it's coming on August 20th, but now he said that it's coming only to about 1,000 Tesla owner. Then there's going to be dot 69.1 next week. That's going to accommodate the feedback from those 1,000 people. And then a 10,000 release after that. So the next week. And then point two the week after that. So then we're at 3 weeks. And then a release. So like we're like 3 to 4 weeks away from a full release of the new 10.69. So temper your expectation there. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say too. So 10.69 is apparently the step just before version 11 that's gonna mesh the two stacks from highway and um, city driving. And I kind of have to say that I'm a little bit pre-anxious to that. Like I'm glad that I'm gonna my this giant road trip with like 4,000 miles or whatever I'm driving over the last month and the next few weeks is gonna be done, because I do enjoy my autopilot, and if it's gonna be meshed with that, I'm like, not so sure.
Do you think people should like hold off on the update if they're making a long trip or something?
Well, I mean, the update's gonna be a while. I think if we're 4 weeks away from dot point 69, I think V11 is gonna be months away. Like especially between dot point 12 and now 69, there's been already like what 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah,
So the updates have been further and farther between. So something to consider. I mean, this whole FSD beta program, like, uh I don't know, like at the same time, I don't want to say like, because it is there's things about it that are impressive that no other car can do today at a consumer level, and that's great. But for those that spent $12,000 on this,
yeah,
like, I, I, I'd be mad. I mean, I spent what I want to say like $6,000 on this, and
yeah. Mine was 7,
yeah,
and I haven't even
uh,
got the beta yet, so
yeah.
I haven't got to try it.
You
I
need
guess,
you need to contact Elon on
yeah,
Twitter,
Nitsa.
like Nitsa did it, and apparently they're getting it. So without the safety, though they had a 99% safety score. So like, what's that about then? Like if you have like
Yeah,
yeah, what's the point of the safety score if you have 99 and you don't even get it? Maybe
yeah,
maybe what that exposes, like, oh, Tesla was like didn't want to let Nitsa have it for some reason.
yeah. I wonder if it was registered to Nitsa or if it was under some person at Nitsa's name. Like, can
Yeah.
you register a car to a organization? I guess you could, commercial purposes.
Yes, you could, but if their goal is to test things out, I would assume that they'd be smart enough not to do it for their own name,
Yeah,
because
it's weird.
I would assume they have no
So, I
like.
mean, there getting back to that earlier point, there were a lot of people when Tesla started requiring you to hold the steering wheel or put weight on the steering wheel. There were a lot of people who delayed their update uh, on autopilot um, because they didn't want to have to hold the
Yeah.
steering wheel. Do you think people will be holding off on updates if the FSD merger makes regular autopilot, worse?
Well, I mean, it depends on. It really depends on the update, I guess. I guess some people could wait and see. what people say out there. Though there's a lot of people I just don't trust at all what they're saying about
Right.
the PSNY beta, because there's just too many people that has these rosy glasses when it comes to this, because it's just not that, like, it's impressive in many way, but it's so far from what it claims to be, or it claims that it's going to be, that
Right.
when people say these crazy like mileage, like without intervention and all that, like it's just like, if this in California maybe, like in where Tesla has been testing like crazy, but where I'm driving in Canada, and I've drove all the way from Canada to New Orleans, and now New Orleans to Virginia, and let me tell you, it's not that good.
Mm.
So I'll be the guinea pig when the V11 comes out. I'll get it, and I'll test it on the highway, and if it's severely brings back the capacity of the auto steer and traffic aware cruise control on the highway, I'll let you guys know. All right, we have some Tesla Semi news. Last week we had Elon confirming that it's going to be delivered, shipping out this year. So like a kind of a little surprise, because we weren't exactly sure on the timing. Now Tesla has updated its website for the Tesla Semi to get some new information, and also they stopped taking reservations. So they've been taking reservations since the launch in 2017. I assume that they got plenty large backlog by this point, since the vehicle was delayed several times. And now the in the update to Tesla still says the same range, so you have a 300 mile and a 500 mile option. Elon already said that the 500 mile option is going to be the one that's get delivered first. I think before they said the full load. Now they clarified it's a full load at 82,000 pounds, which is the full capacity of a Class 8 truck, if I'm not mistaken. And still said the under 2 kilowatt hour per mile of efficiency. So that was the same that they said before. Some new pictures and video of the interior, the production version here. Looks, is that coming from
Good
you?
sound effects.
Is that what was the sound effects? Really?
Yeah.
That's right. Um, yeah, I mean that looks pretty much the same as at the unveiling, or pretty close.
Is there
The
going to
new
be
pic-
a door
yeah,
or something on the right side there? If you look at the thing, like they have that bar, like I guess armrest with the cup holders and stuff.
yeah.
Like,
No, I think the door is only on the left side, just like
yeah, so there's no way to get in on the other side,
I would assume that.
and there's no other
Yeah,
seats in the. There's just one seat.
yeah, it's a center seat. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem for some people. I know that some people like to have like they bring their partner on the road sometimes, like if it's the long haul. Though I guess the market for the Tesla Semi is not long haul at first, so it's not that big of a deal. The three independent motor, I think that was four before, if I'm not mistaken.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's 4 wheels in the back, 3 motors. I guess it's kind of like a, plaid setup.
Yeah, it used to be the Model 3 motor, so maybe what they did is like, yeah, they used to be four Model 3 motors, so maybe what they did is they're using the same the same three motors as the Plaid, or three of the more efficient motors in the Plaid. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, so one motor would control 2 wheels, and then 2 one one each of the additional wheels would be controlled by its own motor. Seems kinda
yeah,
weird, but
talking about 70% charge in 30 minutes.
that's impressive,
Yeah.
if true.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of battery. Do we know how many kilowatt hours that is?
No, it's not. Jamie made the post. He speculated 1 megawatt hour, which I think, well, yeah, that's pretty much what we thought before too.
So that's 700 kilowatts hours. 700 kilowatt hours in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of juice. That's 1.4 megawatt charging.
All right. The other big thing too in the update on the website is the removal of the pricing. And that's something that we've been anticipating for a while now. Tesla has been saying like 150,000 for the 300 mile version, I think, and 180,000 for 500-mile version, but we're expecting a price increase like everything else these days. But it's still likely the economics of it are still likely really pretty good just from the gas saving alone. But yeah, with the new updated website, with Elon saying that it's shipping out this year, I would expect some kind of product launch later, relatively soon. There hasn't been one of those in a while for Tesla.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of strange. We've been kind of riding the Model 3 and Model Y train for a while. There's nothing new, like
Yeah, I
production
mean,
wise.
to be fair, those products have been more impactful than anything else in the industry, but
Right.
still, like Tesla launch product are always fun and always gets thing moving. You always and you always get a lot of it moves the industry at the salon product. Like the roadster came out, and then everybody had to update their spec, like and all that. So I would assume that there's something similar is going to happen with the Tesla semi truck because there is competition out there. There's Nikola now shipping trucks. There's Freightliner shipping trucks. Lion Electric shipping trucks. There's a lot of people shipping trucks. Like, we just saw dashboard from California Aerosols board that said that they are right now over 2,300 um, electric trucks in operation. In I think that includes buses, though. Yeah, I included buses, trucks and buses in California in operation right now.
Still good. Buses are good too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, buses. They are the one that makes the most sense. They all should all be electric already if production capacity would enable that. Especially school buses are the one that makes
Yeah.
like they sit alone for so long. It's kind of they already have such a very unique and kind of not inefficient use case that the electric vehicle. Especially, I like the idea of using the vehicle to grid the capacity to at the same time. So when they sit around, that would make a ton of sense. All right, there was this thing like give us a glimpse of how Tesla plans to enable the supercharger network for non-Tesla EV owners in the near future in the US. Of course, they already do in Europe, but the integration with the app in the US looks like Tesla is planning a membership thing to come out. So that was something that was added to the app earlier this week, but it was quickly removed, which lead us to believe that it was probably a mistake that it was enabled. We were a test, and then it was removed because specifically the membership was 99 cents a month. So I'm pretty sure that was a mistake. Like I know a lot of people have been running with that. I wouldn't bank on that at all. Uh, it's not it's way too cheap compared to other things in the market, and also it just doesn't make sense for what Tesla is trying to do here. I think is there was two tiers, obviously the pay per use, and then the membership. And the advantage of the membership over the pay per use is a lower price per kilowatt hour, but the 99 cents per month would just like the 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 lower price per kilowatt hour would have to be a very small difference for Tesla to make sense to even charge that. So I think that was really much a placeholder. Um, we don't have all the details yet, obviously, since Tesla hasn't launched it, but we assume that Tesla is going to launch that relatively soon. The way I see it is probably going to be that the pay as you go price for non-Tesla V owner is going to be higher than the price per kilowatt hour for Tesla owners, what they pay right now. And then you could get a membership as a non-Tesla EV owner and get the same price or closer to the price that Tesla owners pay. I think that would be the logical step here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think EVgo and Electrify America and ChargePoint and Shell and all the others are concerned that Tesla might have a really good product here and may make their model seem silly?
They should be.
Yeah.
They certainly should. If they're not, they're being dumb as hell. Because this is if there's something great about like just this just drove 400 miles today and it was as easy as it gets. Just stopping along the 81 here, all the sheets. I don't know, is that how you pronounce that? You know those
Yep.
stations. Those kind of
Yep.
just as a partnership along the 81. Every 100 miles they have a sheet station and it's perfect. Super easy to do, and all these stations have like at least like 8 of them or something like that. Like you go to an EVgo, you go to Electrify America, they have like 4. So Electrify America have some bigger ones these days, but still for the most part. So the I let's be serious though. Tesla is not cheap either, so the price is gonna be significant. So if there's gonna have a competitive aspect to it here, I think EVgo and Electrify America are gonna be able maybe to compete on the price per kilowatt hour. But in terms of convenience, in terms of just pure location aspect of it, I think Tesla has a giant advantage right now. And also, they have money. Tesla has more money than EVgo, more money than Electrify America. They are drowning in cash right now and in free cash flow. Tesla. The only reason that the supercharger network is not expanding as fast as some people would like, including myself, is purely a labor issue. Like, is it's labor extensive to not just the actual labor of like installing it, but just those deal with property owners, those permitting aspect. There's the deal with the electric
Right.
utility. All those things are there's it's hard to get like people that are good at making them happen, and because Tesla would be expanding that faster if they could. It's not the money the problem right now.
Yeah, I mean, they have kind of like a business model. I mean, up until recent, the first stage was just making electric vehicles viable for long trips. Like that
Hmm.
was the purpose of the superchargers. Then, Model Y and Model 3 come out. There's a lot of people. All of a sudden, it starts
Volume.
making some money. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then now that they're thinking about third parties, they have an opportunity to make a ton of money. And I will
Yeah, Tesla
say,
could own that space if like almost like
right,
especially
they
since right now like 70% of the EVs in the US are Teslas
right. And
already.
it's, obviously Tesla makes it easy. They have the technology. I haven't used it with a non-Tesla EV yet, but I imagine it's fairly straightforward. And then EVgo and Electrify America and all the others, like, sadly are not very,
Mm,
they're not great technology wise, and they're down quite a bit. They're not reliable. Like if
so
I'm going
much.
on a long trip in a non-Tesla EV, like I'm not feeling real confident about, like the charging stations. Maybe like three out of the four are down sometimes. So yeah,
And
it's
also pure
I think it's
location too. Like I just it's not everywhere. Somewhere they have a good location. And I know it's not the greatest example, but like I was going to Birmingham, Alabama, and Tesla had like three options, including one at Bucky's. My first time as a Bucky. I
that place
understand
is
why
crazy.
people love Bucky's. I mean, it's of course they are like selling fuel um like it's just coming from the ground right there. Like it is, there's just so many cars just getting fuel there. But what I was shocked by Bucky's is how efficient it is, because I got there to charge, park my car, and I needed to go to the bathroom and get something to eat, and I saw like it had to be like 600 people there. See, I'm like, what am I doing here? This is like I have like a 20-minute charge to do. Like I'm never gonna get out of here. Having gone to the bathroom and getting something to eat, it's full packed to the door, and I was in and out in seconds.
Nice.
I just couldn't believe it. Everywhere, half the people that was inside looked like they were working there. It's crazy. I was very surprised. I understand why people love it now, other than the of course the fueling aspect. Like I don't know if there's like an advantage to fuel there versus somewhere else. It has to be because there was so many people just gassing up there. um but yeah, they had one there just outside of Birmingham. They had one on the other side of Birmingham if you're going towards Mississippi. They had one in town. uh when I went there with the so I just went through there with my Model 3. When I went through there with the Mustang a few months ago, I had to go 20 miles, maybe 20 miles outside of town to get to an HFI America station to charge up before leaving town to my next destination. Makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, so that's one of the things that nobody really talks about.
Mm,
Electrify America, EA, and EVgo and Shell, and they're all kind of looking at it from where's the cheapest place to put it? Where can
mhm,
we get subsidies? Tesla's like, all right, we need something between big cities. That's where they
mm,
start. And then they kind of look at it from like, all right, where are the blind spots? Like, let's show off our map. Whereas, I think EVgo like doesn't even come in unless they can get subsidized energy.
mm.
that the city that subsidizes some of the cost of the stuff, and then they look at population centers. They want to be in a highly populated area, and that's just not where people need to
Yeah.
charge. And so Tesla's chargers are in places where people need to be, and I don't think the other companies are they're not getting there.
Yeah. No, the Tesla, the you can see there's thoughts that goes into where the station goes more than most other companies. Like in the case of EA, that was they have a big partnership with Walmart, and that was one of them. That was one of the WalMarts. Mm, sometimes it can be a good location, sometimes not. Like a lot of WalMarts, it just don't make sense really. But yeah, the Sheets one, like Sheets is was my first time there. It's great too. We stopped. There was a Zaxby's. Have you ever been at a Zaxby's? Great
No.
fried chicken, Zaxby's,
Okay.
on the way up here.
Nice
No, they
plug.
have great location. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. When it's all of course, like the market. I'm not. I don't even know if like what's the best approach here. Really, the federal government is pouring $5 billion into this, so obviously
That's not gonna be good.
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of growth, but like there's gonna be a lot of mismanagement of that money too. Like how, like I know that when here's the thing too, Tesla is probably gonna be pretty good at getting that money and probably use it efficiently, but also they don't need it.
Right.
So it's not gonna be that useful. Like Tesla is already, I think, deploying station as fast as they can, labor wise. So
Right.
unless maybe like they buy up like a EVgo on the cheap or charge point on the cheap or whatnot. How much EVgo is? Do you think right now? Give me a guess. How much is it?
Uh,
Market cap?
150 million.
Oh boy, you're way
That's
off.
little.
I was gonna say a
That's
billion, but it's actually
1.5
2.5
billion.
billion.
Okay,
2.5.
2.5 billion.
They gave
Sorry.
you like three guesses. No, so yeah, this is my. I don't know. Tesla could easily. That's their free cash flow for a quarter, so they could easily buy that. But
But why would they? They have all these legacy stations, and the
yeah, but
technology is
I
not
feel
there.
like they could make those stations already better probably, and then they could use the staff to like, all right, like use it. It's probably like it's would be almost like an acquisition hire type of things where they get the staff like, all right, you guys are now all permitting for superchargers. Um, I don't know. Maybe the another bottleneck of superchargers is the actual production of superchargers themselves. I know Tesla in China they had to build this new factory for it. In
So
the
are
U.S.,
all Tesla chargers coming out of China, or I feel like New York was building them
yeah, New York
as
was
well?
also producing some, but I don't know if they're producing enough.
Hmm.
All right. Oh, this is a great news that I feel like I'm not always one to complain about like the mainstream media or when people that keep telling me you have to call them legacy media now because you guys are mainstream too. The legacy media is like or the bigger media, whatever you want to call them. They are missing on this because this was big news this week, and I didn't see anyone other than the specialist media covering this. It was the first emergency event of the virtual power plant in California. So just earlier this week, we also reported that Tesla expanded the virtual power plant in California from just the PG&E to the Southern California edition, and that covers Southern California, hence the name, but like mainly like the Los Angeles and surrounding areas. So now they cover most of California basically with that power plant. So most of the Tesla owners in California can jump on this virtual power plant system and get paid for providing grid services when they come when they need emergency alert when they need more power. So there was this PG&E this week. Uh, PG&E had this flex alert that they called out. That was on the 15th. Yeah, on the 15th, and it was because of hot temperature, which and it comes with high energy demand, of course, when people are running their ACs like crazy. So they were anticipating that they were going to need to run some peaker plants to compensate for that, which is a lot more expensive, which put the grids at risk if there's too much demand. So instead, not instead, I'm sure they ran some peaker plants too, but they ran this. They sent out this alert to the virtual power plant Tesla to band together for. Oh, that was on 17th. Sorry, 17th for between 5 a.m. No, start charging at 5 a.m. So early in the morning, you start charging, and then they start discharging at 6 p.m. So I think from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's when the discharge happened. So if you had Powerwall and solar, well, during the day, you could accumulate, you charge your Powerwall with your solar, and you could limit the amount that you use versus what you're going to send to the grid, and get paid for it at $2 per kilowatt hour, which is not nothing. Some people probably make like 50, 60, $70 just from that single event. And we saw that at some point the PG&E, because they separate the grid from PG&E and the Southern Edison. Southern Edison had only again, they started like 3 days ago, only about 230 homes with power walls. It doesn't say how many power walls, but most of them are more than one. Um, and over 2,000, I think at the peak it was 2,500 homes on the PG network contributing to the virtual power plant, with over 16,000 kilowatts, 16 megawatts of power being handing out. So this is like we've been talking. There's been talk about a smart grid for a while. This is what it looks like to me, like a true smart grid with distributed energy assets all around it, bending together to make the grid work without having to use these expensive and very polluting peaker plants, and also avoid brownouts. I mean, even with peaker plants now, California has been experiencing brownouts for years. This is going to eliminate that too. So win 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 on all sides here. Big success. Still on the energy front, yeah, this little scoop earlier this week. I was looking at the Teslas. I like to look at the new job postings at Tesla at times, because it gives you some ideas of what Tesla is working on and whatnot, or new locations and things like that. And I ended up finding this job posting for a product operation manager in retail electricity, based in Austin, Texas. And then I read the description. I'm like, oh, this is actually an interesting description. It confirmed that Tesla is planning to launch a new electricity retailer in the Texas market. So the description reads, this product operation manager will be central to the success of Tesla's emerging electricity retail business. This person will support the launch and growth of a new electricity retailer in Texas market. This person will be responsible for managing retail electricity product, administering the customer portfolio, coordinating customer support, blah blah blah. So yeah, this is something that Tesla has been hinting at for a while now. There was an application with the Public Utility Commission in Texas, and they also been running another virtual power plant there at a demonstration with Tesla Powerwall owner in Texas. And now really it shows that Tesla is looking to be an electricity retailer in the state. We know that Tesla is also developing its own energy assets in the state, a big 250 megawatt megapack system, megapack project. And also, just this right there, when it's completed, I don't know, we were speculating about it, but it has to be in the hundreds of megawatts, right? When it's completed, this.
When it's completed, yeah.
Yeah, I would assume
Fred,
so.
I don't know if you saw this, but you found this yesterday, but a whole bunch of other sites found the exact same job listing today, and they didn't acknowledge you, so they must have found it coincidentally
The
on their
Fox,
own.
you know, this is the only one who gave me credit.
Who's that?
Fox News.
Wow!
Funny enough,
Congratulations.
Fox News posted it a few hours after me, so it looks bad when it's a few hours after it. And then there's a lot of other journalists that posted it, and they were like, "Yeah, I found it myself," and everything. Is like, I looked like, I didn't. It wasn't just posted yesterday, and then I found it and posted. It has been online for a week now. I think it was August. No, more than a week. It was August 6th. I think it was posted, and no one
Couple of
found it
weeks.
for like 2 weeks. I find it, and then you find it the next day. Sure enough, sure enough. Yeah, now it's making the round the news, like especially in Texas, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of used to it at this point.
I was a little bit
You
disappointed
know what was my
the
favorite one?
Austin's. What's that?
No, since we're in that subject, I'm not gonna stay on it too long, because I don't want to get too much attention to this. But just to let you know, the funniest one was just already posting it a few hours after I did, And I called her out, the girl that wrote it, and I was like, why are you not giving me credit for this? Like, you have to find it on this. And then she says, no, I found it on Fox News, who did give
Which
me
link to
credit.
you?
But
And
not
she
only
didn't
that,
link
I
to
was
Fox
like,
News either.
yeah, I was like, why did it link to Fox? Like, where did you credit Fox News? It's like, and then she has the link to Fox News. I'm like, all right, but now that you know it's coming from, no, 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 no. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
obviously, it's
That's
the
that place is a little
sequence
bit
of
of
events.
hot garbage over there, but
Oh yeah, yeah. Um. All right, though. I mean, we've been on the Inflation Reduction Act for a while now. Obviously, this week the news was that Biden signed it. Like 2 weeks ago was the Senate, last week was the House. Then obviously President Biden signed it this week. But uh, it's not. There was not any option that he wasn't doing it, or anything like that. So, but the thing, of course, is it's something that he clarified. Oh, we were arguing about that last week. Said when we didn't know if so when does the um manufacturer
Chevy
sales
Bolt.
cap. Huh?
We were talking about the Chevy Bolt last week.
Yeah, it was a bolt. Yeah, when does the sales cap get removed? And it is next year, so you don't get
Right.
access to it until next year. So that was the big question that we had. But
And that
these
goes for
are all.
Tesla too, which is a big deal.
So what I wasn't clear on this article though is like because the list is it because the list is coming from them, right? From the
Right.
IRS, I
Yeah,
guess, or
the
no,
whatever.
Department of Energy.
If you hit the list of vehicles link, I think that's where it goes. Up a little bit more. There it is.
Yeah, it's the deal. But are
Yeah, so
those
this is the
really?
Department of
Yeah, but
Energy.
this I don't think this is clearly the list of the ones that are going to be eligible. To be honest, I think they are bad. They are being
I
careful the
think
way that they mentioned this because they said a list of vehicle with final assembly in North America, but that's not the only requirement. Like, yes,
right.
those are all the vehicles that are assembled in North
Right,
America.
like a Rivian or a Mercedes EQS is not gonna be a below $80,000, but I believe that doesn't take effect till the end of the year.
That doesn't take effect in a year, but does the new credit take effect right now? That's so confusing, man.
Yeah, it is very confusing. I think you can still get the credit on those vehicles, but, um,
Because the
I
only
know
the other
it
thing that it comes into effect at the end of the year is also the requirement for the battery materials and everything, and those like that's just for being assembled in America. I don't think they necessarily have the requirements for the battery materials,
yeah,
especially things like
it's
uh,
quite weird because there's a lot of, plug-in hybrids on here, like, the Audi Q5, like, who even knew that was, like, an option? There's a lot of plug-in hybrids, which is really, like, disappointing.
mm, the
Um
Escape PHEV.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of vehicles you never even knew about that are gonna get tax credits where,
Can you
you
even
know,
buy a Pacifica right now?
no idea.
I thought they were like
We've
they
been
still
kinda saying
doing.
goodbye to plug-in hybrids. I guess maybe this will make them stick around a little bit longer, unfortunately.
Oh, even a $7,500 credit wouldn't do much. It's that much of a non-attractive product, and also there's just not any supply of it.
Yeah, so, we'll get to the comments later, but, I've been hearing a lot of people trying to get a Chevy Bolt, and they're 0 out there.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, GM for whatever reason dropped the price of that where everybody else has been raising the prices of their vehicles. GM dropped it. I guess they have the $30,000 Equinox coming, so they didn't want to, I don't know, have that out there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely like their last generation product. Like it's
right.
not then the focus is gonna be on the Equinox, on the Blazer, on the Silverado.
But buying a Chevy Bolt, uh, apparently January 1st, you'll be able to get the $7,500 tax credit back. We'll knock it down below $20,000, actually to $18,000, and then on top of that, if you have like $2,000 from New York State or something, that's becoming like a $16,000 car at that point.
Mm.
So I don't know who wouldn't buy one of those if they had that kind of money and wanted an EV.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the way like Ben Whitebracht, I think, as a good point. So the way that the really effect is more like it's removed access to the credit to a bunch of vehicles more than
Right.
didn't had anything. Yeah, so It's really just some of them are not eligible right now. Yeah, but you're right. Like Audi Q5, like I'm even surprised that it's built in North America. Where's the Audi in
Right.
North America? Where is it? North Carolina?
I'm sure it's somewhere in the South.
Yeah,
It might be Chattanooga, like part of the
the
VW
VW.
complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is sexy. It's a Banshee electric charger concept that was unveiled by Dodge this week. I know Jamie doesn't like it because it looks like it has an exhaust in the back, but you know, that's he does like it. I think. Yeah, I read the post. He had some good comments to say about it. I think the things he doesn't like is the mostly the fake sounds that comes out of it. And
Right.
did they say that's going to be optional? Because I really don't care about that as long as they say it's optional. Um, an
Yeah,
exhaust system
I'm
for
not
the type
certain.
of
It kind of feels like they should have options on that. Like that would be really weird if it was that particular
frat
noise.
zoning. Frat zoning, you call it. The front for the frat zone. The name of an old tree prog Dodge logo from the 60s. 126 decibel of sound, equivalent to a Hellcat. I mean, we don't see nothing say it in here, but as long as it's optional, I couldn't care less.
Right.
But yeah, the car itself or the concept, I guess, is good looking.
Yeah, if you're
If you
into this kind of look, for
yeah,
sure.
it's sleek. But yeah, I mean this is basically a preview of the electric charger that's going to be coming in 2024. Dodge have been saying for years now that they're going to come with the first like real American muscle car that's all electric and no specs whatsoever. So we're not going to get too excited just yet, but we get an idea of what it might look like, and I like it. I like it. I might find a few takers. All right, the ID Buzz, we got some idea on the demand on the European side where they already have opened the order books, not open in the US just yet, but in Europe, they confirmed today that they already have 10,000 orders for it, even though they haven't opened it in all markets like France and the UK, some of the bigger markets. So we expect that it's going to be sold out by the time they start deliveries in a few months. And because they only plan to make 15,000 units this year, so it's not like a giant demand for it, but enough that it's sold out this. Basically, it's going to be sold out this year before the launch in the US. I think late next year. I think it's going to be. But yeah, the why I wanted to post that today too is because I'm actually going to Europe next week to test it out. So if you guys have any questions that you want me to try to answer during my review, let me know, and I'll try to find the answer when I get some time with the electric van in just a few days. Really, pretty excited about it. This is
Yeah, that's
kind of a
be
unique thing in the market right now.
for sure. And I'm actually surprised that they only had 10,000 orders for it. The amount of hype for it and the just people around me are like, "Oh, when is that going to be available? I want to get that." Because there's not really a lot of good third row options. They're just kind of coming online. Obviously, Model Y has a small third row. The Mercedes EQB has a third row, but not much else out there with the third row EVs.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Like Volkswagen said, I mean, these are comments. These numbers came from Lars Kraus, the VW commercial vehicles head of sales, and he did say that they expect demand in Europe to be similar to the demand in the US. But I think somehow this might be more popular in the US than it is in Europe. I wouldn't be too surprised about that. What I need to ask, because I haven't heard it about in a while, do you know if they still plan to make them in the US? Because they have to
I
basically
think they
have
do.
to. Yeah.
I think they do at the Chattanooga place.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. I know they said that early on, but you know what? I think what they said early on is that it's going to come to the US in 2022, but that was going to come first from Europe, and then we're going to
2024.
start, and then we're going to start production in 2024 in the US. But I think
I don't
the
think it's
vehicle was
coming to the
supposed to.
US in any form until 2024, and
Yeah,
then
now I think that's the case, but I think originally they said it's going to come to the US sooner than that. I think it was delayed
mm, okay.
because it's production is starting already starting back in May.
I mean, the fact that the infrastructure bill passed and U.S. cars are getting more money, I think it motivates more automakers to make EVs in the US.
Yeah,
So if they were on the fence about it, now they can uh, reap the rewards.
yeah. I'm obviously not as tapped into the European market. Obviously, I don't know what's the feeling of nostalgia around the VW minibus, but in the US it's pretty strong. Like everyone I talk to about it, they're like, "Oh, yeah, really? All right, really? They're doing that? Oh, that might be interesting." And people that don't have any EVs or never really thought about it. Polestar, Polestar is a new supercar or roadster, at least, concept that gonna turn into the Polestar 6. So the O2 that was unveiled. That wasn't just unveiled. We saw that. Oh, yeah, we saw it in July. Uh, they they're gonna turn it into the Polestar 6 in 2026,
Hmm.
and it looks like this.
I mean, the obvious question is 2026. Is the Tesla Roadster going to be out by then?
I hope so. I mean, and this might be more expensive than a Tesla Roadster, to be honest, because when you talk to me about 500 special editions, I mean, that always make me worry about the price. But in terms of some of the specs, 800 volt architecture, double motor powertrain, up to 650 kilowatts of output, 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. So it's going to be slower than the Roadster. But like, yeah, when you talk about numbered units in the 500, unless is it to start with, the EV company says it would build 500 numbered units of the Polestar's LA Concept Edition. This Roadster will feature sky blue. Oh, okay. Maybe they're gonna be more than that. It's not clear. Maybe so the LA Concept would be the special edition, and then there's gonna be more.
So they're going to make 500 special edition ones and then roll it out as a normal product after that.
Yeah, if they do that, then okay, that might be a little less expensive because the specs don't scream to me like like you can sell that as a $200,000 supercar. It's good spec, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I've been saying for a long time we need kind of a nice little convertible, small convertible with decent range. That's not too expensive, like Mazda Miata, but electric. I thought maybe that could be it, but I would need to see the price before I say that.
Right.
All right, we're already almost an hour in. We went through the news this week. It was kind of a slower news week this week, but let's get into the comments because you guys have been going nuts.
Yeah. All right. Tyler Hilliard question: do you think Tesla will export out of US a ton for the rest of the year, then have a huge New Year's Day US delivery event due to the tax credit? It's an interesting idea. Tesla's done stuff like that in the past. What
Certainly
do you
has,
think?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if you go historically speaking, Tesla has optimized deliveries for subsidies before. And I know people like this is has been like a vector of attack for naysayers, for Tesla naysayers. Like Tesla's optimizing for subsidies. It's like this is bad. This is business. Like this is how it works. Like it's if subsidies are out there, people are going to take advantage of it. So I wouldn't blame Tesla on that. Also, it's for the buyers, like the buyers too. Like if you're gonna be on the market for a new car, you're gonna want to take everything you can get advantage of, and Tesla is just being nice to the customers and like I'm gonna help you get those credits. So yeah, I mean this is gonna be something that's gonna be talked about in the media a lot. Like, oh, Tesla is taking advantage of like hundreds of millions of dollars of tax credit. But the truth is, like every other automaker is gonna try to do the same thing. But
Yep.
yeah, I
They
think
put it out there.
Tyler is onto something that's probably gonna be something that's gonna happen.
All right. You might have answered this, but Mr. Turkey Neck says, Fred, how is the Blue Ridge section any different from plain vanilla auto steer?
I mean, on the Blue Ridge Parkway, it was very similar to that. So it was that's why I wanted to test it. I wanted to be able to because I knew it wouldn't engage auto steer. It would engage the full self driving beta, like the red lines instead of the blue lines, or whatever. Um, so it's a different stack. So that's kind of what I wanted to test with this. and it performs very similarly, very well, other than some of the phantom braking is a little bit more frequent for sure than it is on auto steer. Like on the like 6 miles that I was on the parkway, it was happened like 3 times or maybe, but not as severe as it is on autopilot on the highway. But I would have to assume that has to do with speed more than anything else. If you're already driving slower, it's different. But yeah, then of course when I went off the parkway and into those little winding roads, and the driver intervention was significant. It was scary. I
Mm.
love that a lot of people, a lot of Tesla fan was like attacking me on like why you said it was scary, because it was scary. Look at the video. I got scared. Like I'm not lying. I'm not an actor or anything like
Yeah, crisis actor, Fred.
that.
All right. Doug Grinberg's question. Reportedly, Charin MCS standard connector pilots in 2023, production in 2024. Would Tesla and others use prototypes, then retrofit with production truck and charger connections when finalized, released? That's referring to the Tesla Megacharger, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna be called mega chargers though. I'm not so sure about that, but because Tesla seems to have changed some of the phrasing on their website. But anyway, we're talking about the same thing anyway. Uh, yeah, I mean that would make sense. Tesla has participated in it. It would make sense to for them to deploy them with the protocol of the mega charging standard. Is it? Oh, okay. Well, mega charger. Well, was the Tesla's what is it? Charging MCS. MCS stands for what? Megawatt charging stand, something like that. I think
I
megawatt,
think
right?
so.
It's not
Yeah.
mega charger. Yeah, I think it would make sense to have it the protocol built in to be compatible whenever the official standard and connector rolls out.
Yep. They can do just like cars and eventually charge other vehicles.
Hmm.
All right. So we're getting into a bit of a feed here, but Sebastian Perlowski says, how many Chevy Bolts are they making? And the answer is not enough. So he's been trying to get a Bolt for a month, and nobody even has them online. A Rollout 20 chimes in saying there's no EEVs within 300 miles. There's one Bolt EEV within 300 miles of him, and zero Bolt EVs. And comically, Chevy is actually advertising this. Like I see it in my Facebook feed. Like they're
Yeah,
advertising Bolts.
but the
They
advertising
can't make them.
also the Blazer and the Equinox, GM's advertising is pretty strong for these things, even though like they're not even on the market yet. Like
Right.
I and do they really need to advertise the Blazer right now on the Equinox? Because I feel like they would be like a giant wait list if it was available right now, and it's not going to be
Right.
available for months. So
Yeah. Put the resources into getting those cars out, not the marketing
yeah,
department. And I think a lot of people will know this, but there's not really a lot of EVs inventory out there at all. And one of the only ones that people are finding are the Ionic 5s, the Hyundai
yeah.
Ionic 5s.
At what
And
price though?
yeah, and there's huge markups there and pretty much everywhere for everything.
Yeah,
All right, let's see. Uh, Tyler's
I've
back
seen a
here.
Rivian, by the way. I've seen a
Oh,
R1T on
no,
the road in Tennessee yesterday.
interesting.
No, this morning.
Um,
No, it was this morning.
so I saw on Twitter that somebody had taken the Rivian up the highway in Alaska that we wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
We asked Rivian and Ford and Chevy, or sorry, GM, if we could grab an electric truck and take it to the Arctic Circle, and they've all been like, "Yeah, maybe." Somebody else did it, so too late.
Mm.
All right, so back to Tyler. Question: does anyone know what percent of Austin Model Ys are 4680 versus 2170? Those are the battery packs. I'm hoping for a good portion 4680, maybe LR soon, if not already. So I don't think
Yeah.
that's good.
No.
I think
We-
it's mostly 2170s.
Yeah, we don't have that information, but we do know that the the production spiked up very much when they did start production with the 2170. So you can do the math there.
All right. Roller 20 says, do you guys have any inside scoop on when the Equinox EVs or EVE orders open?
Don't they
I
actually
think I'm gonna
told us?
I think we're going to find out on September 8th. There's an event in New York City that I'm going to that
Uh,
we're going to find out a bunch of information on.
yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the event, but maybe it's gonna be there. Maybe it's gonna start taking orders on September. What do you see September? What?
September 8th,
Yeah.
we're going to find out some more information. By the way, I got invited to go to Spain, Madrid, to test the Land Rover hybrids, and they have some plugins and some not plugins. And I was like, "Where I'm not going to cover, like, you can fly me there and
You gonna
feed
do the
me."
test drive and not report on it?
Well, if they have a plug-in with like 50 miles of range, I guess I could
Yeah.
report on it because whatever. But I told them, and they were like, "Yeah, no problem, come on out." So I might be going to Spain for no reason at all.
Yeah, let Jaguar Land Rover, they love that. Those like Spain, Portugal, and all that. That's not
Yeah,
the first time they bring us something.
it's so hard to turn down those things because it's
Yeah,
just like, you know.
beautiful trips. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, moving on. Mr. Turkey Neck, Fred, please find out how the passenger space in the ID.7 may be configured, a la Westphalia. I think he means the Buzz, a la
Yeah.
Westphalia or ICE California model. All
Yeah,
right, that's
I'll definitely focus on the passenger space, especially the third row. I think I'm gonna have access to a lot of different configurations there, and also even the cargo one. I know that's not passenger, but I know that's of interest of a lot of people that might want to use it as a commercial vehicle.
all right. Jeffrey Hamilton says, way back in 2019 at Tesla's first autonomy day, Elon said all leases would, moving on, will return to Tesla at the end of the lease. Is this still the case?
I think so, but not for that reason that he stated back then.
Right.
In hindsight, like that was like such a brilliant move. like it was because there's so much money on cars coming back from leases right now, just from the used car market being this crazy. So back then, of course, he said, "Oh, we're doing that because we want all these cars to be used in the Tesla network fleet of autonomous vehicle," which still hasn't happened now 3 years later. But now what Tesla is doing instead with those cars is they are not building their fleet with it; they are selling them back for a hefty profit. So good on them. But yeah, that Tesla network is still vaporware.
All right, Bike Angelus question: is Rivian's production numbers and financials comparable to Tesla when Tesla was producing a similar number of cars?
Yeah, I've been through that in a different podcast, Mr. Bike Angelus. No, that's the problem. That's the problem. So in terms of revenue and gross margins, well, not revenue, I guess, but the most important is the gross margin. Like the Rivian is nowhere near what Tesla's gross margin was at that kind of production volume. And not only that, the expenses that they have, operating expensive, is much higher than what Tesla was. And finally, uh, the only advantage that they had over Tesla at that time, that person, is their cash balance. So they can withstand that for a while, but it's not sustainable. So they need to turn it sustainable by increasing gross profit, reducing operating expenses. To me, it looks like, but maybe they want to reduce them a little bit, their operating expenses, but not in any kind of significant way that would make sense. I think they are more banking on, like, we're gonna figure that this production and because they have the demand for it. So I know it's tempting when you have the cash balance and you have the demand. Like, if we can produce these cars in high volume at an attractive price, we have the market to sell them. They have like 80, 90,000 reservation right now. Um, so it makes sense, but I'm starting to get worried a little bit on the expense front and
Yeah.
gross margin.
All right. Uncreepable says, "Hi guys, I will
Mm.
subscribe now." That's a good segue
Yeah.
into everybody should subscribe and hit the like button and give us a good review. But also, make sure you tell your friends to subscribe. We haven't asked that before, but I know a lot of people are looking for good EV podcasts, so hit that.
Yeah, and if you're listening on your podcast app too, you should definitely give us a 5-star review. That those are always appreciated, and they help a ton. We got a bunch of them last weekend. I read them all, and I appreciate you guys for writing them out.
All right, a few more questions here.
Okay.
Carl in San Diego, given the Bolt will be too cheap after the new year. I mean, that's that
Yeah.
may be true or not, and they likely have no profit in their deeply discounted car. Shouldn't we expect a price hike on it? I mean, they should have already price hiked it, and they shouldn't have dropped the price, but they did, and here we are. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I really want to be in that meeting. What happened in that meeting? I'm like, let's drop the price now.
Yeah,
Maybe they
literally,
saw
all of our
something.
competitors are raising the price.
Yeah, but they had the data. Maybe there was something that we didn't see at the time, that like they saw like new orders just falling or something, but or they got
Hmm.
nervous. I don't know what happened.
All right, Bike Angel's back with question. Articles from mainstream media and tech outlets like CNET seem to have a negative, skeptical outlook overall for EVs. Are you guys overly optimistic, or is MSM, mainstream media, completely deluded about EVs?
I mean,
What do
we're
you think?
biased, so like take that into account. Obviously, our bias. We're an EV publication, so and we do strongly believe that EVs are the future, and they're gonna happen. The future is gonna happen much faster than most people think, including those mainstream media outlets. Um, it's something that I've often told myself, like, am I just like, am I really ahead of the curve here, or am I delusional in how fast this is gonna happen? But though the way I see the mind shift of people once there's enough options on the market, like there are in Norway, for example. I know also Norway has strong incentive and everything, but those incentive are just they just accelerate the economics of it, and the economics are changing all the time for a ton of different factors. The incentive is just one of the factor that can accelerate the economics to make EVs a better option. So the way I see it, with all the other factors happening right now, it's game over. Like it's gonna happen super fast. We just need the production, and we need the different models. Like people cannot see it in the US because right now we're literally at 6%. 6% of new car sales are EVs.
Right.
So people are like, how are we going to get to Norway that's already at 90%? It's like pickup trucks, large SUVs, and just more options in general. And Norway still has probably more options in EV models than the US, despite being what 1/30th the size of the US
Yeah.
in
All
terms of
right. So
population.
we're getting long on time.
Yeah,
Let's just do
yeah.
two more. Carl in San Diego question. I've heard conflicting reports about ID4, Volkswagen ID4 being sold out for 1.5 years. And Autoline Detroit saying they have 150 days of inventory. What's the story there? I I think ID4, at least in the US, is highly dependent on the Chattanooga factory coming online, which should do later this year. But yeah, I don't have any specific numbers there.
Yeah, I don't know what Autoline is getting that number for, because I know personally a lot of people that are waiting for the ID4. So no, it doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. And then last question: have you heard about Imperium Motors? Any clue when they will begin delivering their SUV in North America?
I've looked at their website and did some googling. To be fair, I didn't go too deep into my research on them, but I kind of dismissed them pretty quickly from my research. I don't remember the exact reasons that I didn't do, but I was just not impressed about uh, their chances of actually getting a vehicle certified in North America. I just don't quote me on that. I haven't done too much research on it, so I don't remember the details. But I remember when like, I'm not going to report on that for now until there's more serious moves. All right,
All right, that's all.
that's uh, that's it for us this week. If you're still listening, we love you. Big fan of electric vehicle like us, kindred spirit, and we hope that you're gonna have a great weekend and stay safe out there.